So, you're shopping for a new TV. You walk in and bam, you're hit with a wall of acronyms. But let's be real, in the world of high-end TVs, it really just comes down to two, QLED and OLED. So which one's actually better? Well, we're going to settle that debate right here and figure out which one is the perfect fit for you.
You know that feeling, right? Walking into the TV section feels like a pop quiz you didn't study for. You just want a great picture, but all the tech talk it's a lot. Don't worry, we're going to cut through all that noise. Let's make this simple.
It all comes down to this, the main event. QLED versus OLED. Now, both of them promise an absolutely incredible picture, but the way they get there is completely different. And that one difference, well, it changes everything.
Okay, before we even talk about picture quality, price, any of that stuff, you've got to understand how these TVs actually make an image. The easiest way to think about it is this. One of them makes light, and the other one blocks light.
This right here, this is the single most important thing to know. OLED is emissive, which is a fancy way of saying each tiny pixel is its own little light source. QLED, on the other hand, is transmissive. It's got this big, powerful backlight, and the screen's job is basically to block that light to create a picture. That one single distinction is the key to, well, everything else we're about to talk about.
So yeah, with OLED, just imagine your screen as a grid of millions of microscopic light bulbs. Each and every one can be turned on, turned completely off, or shine any color it wants all by itself. This crazy level of pixel-by-pixel control, that's its superpower.
Now, QLED is a bit different. It's basically a super advanced version of the LCD TVs we've all seen for years. It uses a really strong LED backlight that blasts light through a bunch of layers, including a special sheet of tiny particles called quantum dots. And these dots are amazing at creating super pure, vibrant colors. So you see, it's not a whole new kind of display like OLED is. It's more like the absolute peak of a technology that's been perfected over time.
All right, theory time is over. Let's get to the main event. How do all these technical differences actually affect what you see on the screen? This is what really matters.
And here we go. This is huge. Because those OLED pixels can turn all the way off, they create perfect, absolute, inky black. This gives them what we call an infinite contrast ratio. The difference between the brightest bright and the darkest dark is, well, it's infinite. A QLED has to try and block its backlight to make things dark, but a little bit of light almost always sneaks through. This can create a little halo effect or bloom around bright things on a dark background. So if you're watching a movie in a dark room, think a space movie with tiny stars against the blackness of space, OLED delivers a knockout punch.
But wait, this is where QLED fights back, and it fights back hard. Because of that powerful backlight, QLED TVs can get way brighter than OLEDs. And this is a massive advantage if your living room is sunny and you have to fight off glare. It also means that for HDR content, high dynamic range, those bright spots, like a fiery explosion or the glint of sunlight on water, can really pop with insane intensity. For a bright, colorful animated movie during the day, a QLED's brightness is a huge win.
I love this quote because it perfectly explains why brightness isn't the whole story. Even though a QLED highlight might technically measure as brighter, an OLED's ability to put that bright spot right next to perfect black often makes the whole image feel more dramatic and impactful. It really is all about the contrast.
So, are you planning a big movie night with the whole family spread out on the couch? This is a big one for you. Because OLED pixels make their own light, the picture looks incredible from pretty much any angle. With QLED, because of all those layers blocking the backlight, the picture starts to wash out and lose color as you move off to the side. So if you've got a wide seating area, OLED has a major advantage.
Gamers, sports fans, listen up. When it comes to fast-moving action, OLED has another built-in advantage. Its pixels can change color almost instantly. What does that mean for you? Less motion blur. Now, high-end QLEDs have some seriously powerful processors to help keep up, but on a pure tech level, OLED is just plain faster. Okay. Picture quality is one thing. But let's be honest, your wallet and the size of your living room get a pretty big vote too. So let's get into the practical stuff that often ends up being the real decider.
And this is where QLED lands its biggest punch. Value, especially when you want to go big. Just look at the chart. At 65 inches, things are pretty competitive. But then you jump up to 77 inches and that price gap starts to get a lot wider. And at 85 inches, wow, you can get a massive QLED for what is often thousands of dollars less than a slightly smaller 83-inch OLED.
If you want the biggest possible screen for your money, QLED is the undisputed champion, no question.
Of course, we have to talk about it. The elephant in the room. The #1 fear people have about OLED, the dreaded burn-in. You know, the idea that a static image, like a news channel logo, could get permanently etched into your screen.
So, here's the real story on that. While it's technically possible, the risk for most people is incredibly low. Modern OLEDs have a whole arsenal of protective features to stop it from happening. Pixel shifting, screensavers, brightness limiters, you name it. Honestly, unless you plan on leaving a static image on your screen for 8 hours a day, every single day, it's really not something you need to worry about with normal, varied viewing habits.
And what about just how long will it last? Well, both technologies are built like tanks. Manufacturers estimate a lifespan of around 100,000 hours. To put that in perspective, if you watch TV for 6 hours every single day, it would take you more than 45 years to hit that number. Your TV will be an ancient relic long before it ever wears out. All right, we've gone through the tech, the performance, the practical stuff. Let's put it all together. Let's land this plane and get you a simple guide to making the perfect choice for you.
This is it. This is your cheat sheet. Pause here if you need to. It really just comes down to what you care about most. If absolute, no compromise picture quality is your #1 thing and you mostly watch movies in a darker room, OLED is your champion. But if you're battling a bright, sunny room, you want the biggest screen you can possibly get for your money, or budget is the main concern, QLED is an absolutely fantastic choice that gives you incredible bang for your buck.
And look, if you just want to know what the experts think, based on pure performance alone, the consensus is pretty clear. For overall picture quality, especially that jaw-dropping cinematic look, most agree that OLED has the edge right now.
But you know what the best part of all this is? You really can't lose. Seriously, both of these technologies are so good, so advanced, that no matter which one you choose, you are getting a brilliant, beautiful television.
So, there you have it. You're armed with the knowledge. The choice isn't about confusing tech specs anymore. It's about what fits your home, your family, and your wallet. So the only question left is, which one are you going to choose?